What do you want me to say?" "Oh, that you will be a good boy and not forget us," she answered, smiling at him. "You are more likely to forget me, Sybil." "What do you mean, Jim?" she asked. "You have a new friend, I hear. Who is he? Why have you not told me about him? He means you no good." "Stop, Jim," she cried. "You must not say anything against him. I love him." "Why, you don't even know his name," answered the lad. "Who is he? I have a right to know." "He is called Prince Charming. Don't you like the name? Oh, you silly boy! You should never forget it. If you only saw him, you would think him the most wonderful person in the world. Some day you will meet him, when you come back from Australia. You will like him so much. Everybody likes him, and I love him. I wish you could come to the theater tonight. He is going to be there, and I am going to play Juliet. Oh, how I shall play it! Fancy, Jim, to be in love and play Juliet, to have him sitting there, to play for his delight. I am afraid I may frighten the company. And it is all his only, Prince Charming, my wonderful lover. But I am poor beside him. Poor? What does that matter? When poverty creeps in at the door, love flies in through the window. Our proverbs want rewriting. They were made in winter, and it is summer now, springtime for me, I think, a very dance of blossoms and blue skies." "He is a gentleman," said the lad. "A prince!" she cried musically. "What more do you want?" "He wants to enslave you." "I don't want to be free." "I want you to beware of him. To see him is to worship him. To know him is to trust him." "Sybil, you are mad about him." She laughed and took his arm. "Dear old Jim, you talk as if you were 100. Some day you will be in love yourself. Then you will know what it is. Surely you should be glad to think that, though you are going away, you leave me happier than I have ever been before. Life has been hard for us both, terribly hard and difficult, but it will be different now. You are going to a new world, and I have found one. Here are 2 chairs. Let us sit down and see the people go by." They took their seats. The tulip beds across the road flamed like rings of fire. The brightly colored parasols danced like monstrous butterflies. She made her brother talk of himself and his hopes. Suddenly she saw the golden hair and laughing lips, and in an open carriage with 2 ladies, Dorian Gray drove past. She started to her feet. "There he is!" she cried. "Who?" said Jim Vane. "Prince Charming," she answered, looking after the Victoria. He jumped up and took her by the arm. "Show him to me. Which is he? Point him out. I must see him," he cried. "He is gone," said Sybil sadly. "I wish you had seen him." "I wish I had. If he ever does you any wrong, I shall kill him." She looked at him in horror. He repeated his words. They cut the air like a knife. "Come away, Jim. Come away," she said. "You are foolish, Jim, a bad-tempered boy, that is all. How can you say such horrible things? You don't know what you are talking about. You are simply jealous and unkind. Ah, I wish you would fall in love. Love makes people good, and what you said was wicked." "I am 16, he answered, "and I know what I am about. Mother is no help to you. She doesn't understand how to look after you. I wish now that I was not going to Australia at all. I would if my papers hadn't been signed." "Oh, don't be so serious, Jim. You are like one of the heroes of those silly melodramas Mother used to be fond of acting in. I am not going to quarrel with you. I have seen him, And oh, to see him is perfect happiness. We won't quarrel. I know you would never harm anyone I love, would you?" "Not as long as you love him, I suppose," was the answer. "I shall love him forever," she cried. "And he? Forever too." "He had better." They took a bus and got home. It was after 5 o'clock, and Sybil had to lie down for an hour before acting. Jim insisted that she should do so. In Sybil's own room they parted. There was jealousy in the lad's heart, and a strong hatred of the stranger who had come between them. Yet when her arms came round his neck, and her fingers went through his hair, he softened and kissed his sister. There were tears in his eyes as he went downstairs. His mother was waiting for him. He sat down at the table, and his poor dinner was there. The flies buzzed round the table and crawled over the dirty cloth. After some time he pushed away his plate. "Mother, I have to ask you," he said. She made no answer. "Tell me the truth. I have a right to know. Were you married to my father?" "No," she answered. "My father was a scoundrel then," cried the lad. She shook her head. "I knew he was not free. We loved each other very much. If he had lived, he would have helped us. Don't speak against him, my son. He was your father, and a gentleman." "I don't care for myself," he said, "but don't let Sybil— It is a gentleman, isn't it? Who is in love with her? Or says he is?" "Sybil has a mother," she said. "I had none." The lad was touched. He went towards her and he kissed her. "I am sorry if I have pained you by asking about my father," he said, "but I could not help it. I must go now. Goodbye. Don't forget that you will have only one child now to look after. And believe me, that if this man wrongs my sister, I will find out who he is and kill him like a dog. I swear it."